On this Thursday night, a Toronto police officer killed in the line of duty.
This officer left his family to make the city a safer place.
Why the case is being linked to a shooting at a U.S. consulate. Beefing up Canada's food security, the multi-billion-dollar plan to make groceries cheaper and revamp how Canadian food is grown, processed, and sold. The U.S. president backs down, why he says he's canceled strikes on Iran.
What he says is no longer credible.
Plus, as the World Cup kicks off, we break down the rules of the beautiful game. There we go.
Global National with Donna Friesen.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. Toronto police are mourning one of their own, an 18-year veteran of the force killed in the line of duty. 43-year-old Constable Marc Pinizzotto was a husband and father of two. Toronto's police chief says he was part of a specially trained emergency task force and was shot during an exchange of gunfire during an early morning search at an apartment building, a search related to a series of shootings, including at the U.S. consulate in Toronto.
Mark was shot in the line of duty while conducting a search warrant early this morning, and our teams met with Mark's family at the hospital to confirm this devastating news. And they are grieving a profound loss.
Police say one suspect was shot and is in hospital, and he will be charged with first-degree murder. A second is on the run and is considered armed and dangerous. Kevin Gallagher reports on how it all unfolded and its link to a national security investigation.
We're learning tonight the 19-year-old who was shot by police remains in hospital, and his name is Nicholas Bennett. He'll be charged with first-degree murder in connection with the death of Constable Marc Pinizzotto. An early morning police raid turned tragic at this North York apartment building soon after emergency task force officers entered a fourth-floor unit, according to Ontario's police watchdog.
The man discharged his weapon one time and the officer was struck one time.
The Special Investigations Unit says a 19-year-old suspect fired the first shot, fatally wounding 18-year Toronto police veteran Marc Pinizzotto. Officers returned fire, hitting the suspect multiple times. He's in hospital in critical condition.
These search warrants obviously were being executed outside of daytime hours, so they're very high-risk warrants.
Toronto police executed multiple pre-dawn warrants related to a national security investigation with the RCMP.
Our INSEC team, as well as the RCMP personnel and senior leadership, have been fully engaged in this investigation.
The investigation that led to the search warrant, where Police Constable Marc Pinizzotto was tragically killed, concerned a number of shootings, including a shooting at the United States consulate.
That brazen shooting at the downtown consulate happened in March. Global News obtained this warrant for 19-year-old Zara Jabi, who police say is wanted on 6 charges, including shooting at the American consulate building. This morning, U.S. Ambassador to Canada, Pete Hoekstra, gave condolences to the fallen officer while praising the cross-border investigation.
And it's an example of the close cooperation that we have in law enforcement between the two countries, how we work together.
In May, U.S. prosecutors alleged an Iranian-backed Iraqi citizen was involved with the shooting at the U.S. consulate and a Canadian synagogue. But Canadian investigators have given few details on these connections. Meanwhile, those living inside the building are alarmed.
Kind of scary, because actually I live in the building and there's a lot of kids in here, and it's crazy. And it's not the first time. Last year, a little boy got shot in the same building.
That boy was 8-year-old Jave Roy, who was struck and killed by a stray bullet inside this building last August. Police are urging Zara Jabi to turn himself in. In addition to the U.S. consulate shooting, the 19-year-old is also facing serious firearms charges in connection with a violent attack on the official residence of American Consul General Baxter Hunt. Kevin Gallagher, Global News, Toronto.
As Canadians struggle to pay for the soaring cost of food, the Prime Minister has unveiled a strategy that aims to overhaul how food is grown, processed and sold in this country. The $3.2 billion plan is designed to reduce dependence on imports of food, plus weaken the stranglehold Canada's Big Five grocery store chains have on how food is produced and sold. David Akin explains the ambitious plan.
We're going to put more food on the plates of Canadians, affordable food and nutritious food.
A key pillar of the government's new national food security strategy is to spend $1 billion over the next 10 years to expand the Ontario Food Terminal in Toronto, that's the largest wholesale fruit and produce distribution centre in Canada, and to create or expand other food hubs around the country as a way for independent grocers and local farmers to bypass the Big Five retail chains, which control 75% of the grocery store market.
Food hubs provide huge benefits to both producers and purchasers.
We are an agricultural superpower, yet for most Canadians, it doesn't feel like that at the checkout counter.
The government will also spend $750 million over 7 years to help build greenhouses, vertical farms, and other controlled environments for agriculture to grow produce year-round that Canada currently imports. The Crown Corporation Farm Credit Canada will also provide $1 billion to help food processors build more plants. So, for example, rather than exporting raw tomatoes and importing cans of tomato sauce, Canada will process more of its own raw food.
We're going to grow more at home, process more at home, and feed more Canadians with Canadian food.
And there will also be more financial assistance for farmers and for young people who need financial help to get into farming. And the Competition Bureau will get nearly $13 million in extra funding a year to better investigate anti-competitive practices of large grocery store chains.
We're going to crack down on surveillance pricing.
The government says none of this is meant to displace trade. Rather, the strategy is designed to provide consumers with more choice and more competition, which the government believes will lead to lower prices. Donna.
Okay, David Akin in Ottawa, thank you. A new bridge linking the U.S. and Canada that was supposed to open this week is not. The Gordie Howe Bridge, which has been in the works for more than 20 years and which Canada paid to construct, is intended to replace the aging Ambassador Bridge. The new bridge is now ready to go, but as Mackenzie Gray reports, the U.S. president is not happy, and that means no bridge opening for now.
The invitations had been sent to open the Gordie Howe Bridge on Friday. Problem was, one side actually wants to keep it closed.
At the request of the United States, we agreed to delay the opening and take the necessary time to resolve outstanding issues.
Just 2 days ago, the Prime Minister had said the newest Canada-U.S. link was opening this week. But now he won't even say what the problem is with the fully constructed bridge.
What specifically are those issues that you're delaying?
We'll work. I mean, there's some things that have been raised, a series of technical aspects, which we'll work through with the United States.
Donald Trump's complaints, more than technical, a fixation that started in February, after the owners of the nearby Ambassador Bridge lobbied and donated to the administration, leading Trump to say he wouldn't give needed permits until the United States is fully compensated for everything we've given them, despite Canada paying for 100% of the bridge.
I do know Canadians don't have much of a sense of humor, so I'm already in trouble.
The U.S. ambassador to Canada, yet again, brushing off his boss's comments.
You maybe don't like the way the president says it, but take it in the tone of what he's saying is, we're open to offers. Make your case.
Offers Trump hadn't seemed open to.
We don't need anything that Canada has. We don't need anything that Mexico has, but they need everything that we have.
But Pete Hoekstra has found at least one thing he needs.
Guess what? We need potash. Okay? And potash may not be the greatest example because there's not lots of other places that you can get it.
Opening the Gordie Howe Bridge now clearly a part of broader trade negotiations alongside things like cars, steel, and aluminum. But Canada contends progress is being made.
Well over in the double digits of precise things that the Americans had asked us to address that we have addressed.
Dominic LeBlanc says he expects Canada and the U.S. will cut a side deal along with a three-way deal with Mexico, but had no timeline for that, Donna, or for when the Gordie Howe Bridge might open.
Okay, Mackenzie Gray, thanks. After years of planning, the World Cup is underway, the largest, most expansive soccer tournament ever held. Canada's first game is in Toronto on Friday, but the opening match today was in Mexico City. Few can afford the exorbitant ticket prices to watch in person, but more than 1 billion fans were expected to watch that opener, and our Eric Sorensen was one of them. Eric.
Donna, the first of 104 World Cup matches is in the books. Mexico gave fans in that host country lots to celebrate, defeating South Africa 2-0, kicking off a month-long competition and celebration.
Viva Mexico!
This is the magnificence of the World Cup, the most popular game in the world and a glorious time for fans everywhere.
We are here. We are South African.
Especially those from small countries who can celebrate their culture with the rest of the world. This South African came to Mexico City.
Just being butterflies and arriving here and seeing all the Mexican fans has been incredible.
Believe it or not, this is Vancouver. What makes Canada distinctive are communities here from almost every country in the world.
It's great to see how big the Mexican community is and kind of feel a part of something bigger than us.
Few cities anywhere are more diverse than Toronto. Natalie Acosta is visiting from Colombia.
I like it so much and involve all different cultures and I love it. It's amazing.
Watching the beautiful game in a city that has always been welcoming. Oh, and they were all watching when the match began. Mexican fans in Toronto getting the thrill of the first goal of this World Cup after just 9 minutes. Mexico's Julian Quiñones drove the ball through the legs of the South African goalkeeper Serena Williams as Mexico took charge early. In the second half, Raul Jimenez took a crossing pass and cleanly headed the ball into the South African net. It was a miserable day for South Africa, which also had 2 players sent off with red cards. So the standings begin to take shape now. Mexico tops the table in Group A with 3 points with the win over South Africa. The other 2 teams, Czechia and South Korea, play tonight. But the big match all of Canada is waiting for tomorrow in Toronto, 3 o'clock Eastern, as the Canadian team tries to win its first ever World Cup match right here at home. Donna?
So much excitement, Eric Sorensen in Toronto. Thank you. The highly anticipated comeback of Serena Williams to pro tennis at the Queen's Club Championships lasted just 1 match. Her doubles partner, Canada's Victoria Mboko, hurt her knee in singles, forcing her to withdraw from the tournament. It's not clear if Mboko's injury will lead to her missing more tournaments. Williams is set to play doubles with a different partner at the Berlin Open next week. The U.S. president's U-turn coming up, why he's called off launching more strikes against Iran. A big blow to the government of British Prime Minister Keir Starmer today. Both the Minister of Defence and the Armed Forces Minister have quit, saying Starmer is failing to properly fund the military. In his resignation letter, Defence Secretary John Healey said the defence budget falls well short of what is required at what he calls a dangerous time. Starmer says he was sorry to see him go, but insists his long-delayed military spending plan will keep the country safe. A few hours later, Armed Forces Minister Al Carnes also quit, saying the budget is not built for the threat we face and that his warnings were ignored. They are not the first to lose confidence in Keir Starmer. 7 ministers have resigned in the past month. The U.S. president is again claiming a deal to end the war Israel and the U.S. started with Iran is close. And after launching strikes at Iran last night, today Donald Trump says he has called off more attacks that were planned for tonight. Though as Jackson Proskow reports, details are scarce and the world has heard this before.
Another night of tit-for-tat strikes seemed to leave the U.S. and Iran on the cusp of escalation.
Yeah, there will be more bombing tonight. It'll be bigger.
The American president began the day by threatening to seize Iran's main oil export hub.
My preference has always been take Carg Island.
Soon after, Iran declared the Strait of Hormuz closed and warned of an endless military quagmire. Then suddenly, Donald Trump backed down, canceling a new round of planned strikes.
We just made a great settlement of the war with Iran, and we're going to be subject to finalization of documents, which should get done over the next few days.
Of course, a deal isn't done just because Trump says it is. Trump is talking about an agreement to start negotiations for long-term peace, something he has claimed to be close to dozens of times before.
It's a very strong memorandum of understanding that is a little conceptual, but it's something that's going to get done.
What he says is no longer credible, and he is only appealing to his base and not to, obviously, the stock market, not to Americans, not to the world community.
Retired U.S. Army Major General Randy Manner warns Trump is playing a dangerous game of chicken.
It's important to understand that the Iranians are in a far stronger, bargaining position now than they were when Trump first attacked them.
Indeed, the Iranians seem more confident than ever, while Trump has made it clear he's anxious for an agreement. Trump claims an agreement could be signed as early as this weekend. As always, the devil is in the details, which will determine whether there really is a deal or if this is simply more hopeful talk. Donna?
All right, Jackson Proskow in Washington, thanks. 3 Indian sailors are confirmed to have been killed in a U.S. strike on their tanker off Oman. The American military accused the ship of violating a U.S. blockade on Iranian ports. The vessel came under attack Wednesday with 24 crew members on board. 21 of them were rescued. The U.S. has hit 3 ships in the Gulf this week. All of them had Indian crews. Ahead, an investigation into the AI tool Grok and its creation of sexual deep fakes. Canada's Prime Minister is off on his 9th visit to Europe since he took office. Mark Carney will join world leaders at the G7 summit in France. Carney is looking to strengthen relationships with allies and wean the country off reliance on the U.S. for trade and security. But there are other pressing issues. Jillian Piper is traveling with the Prime Minister.
Donna, the Prime Minister is heading to Paris for the high-stakes summit against the backdrop of a war in the Middle East and global trade uncertainty as U.S. tariffs batter G7 allies.
In a closed-door meeting Friday, senior government officials say Macron and Carney will be discussing how to advance key issues, including artificial intelligence regulation, something the U.S. president has openly opposed.
That one is a really big one, but it's kind of without the Americans, right? Because they're just saying, hey, buy our technology, use our systems, and don't regulate it.
Divisions could also emerge over the war in Iran. U.S. President Donald Trump has repeatedly berated allies for not doing enough to help the U.S. For the summit to be a success, officials say it is important for the G7 to be united in the face of global instability. But that may be difficult with Trump's history of leaving early like he did last year.
Trump is a chaos agent. Anything can happen, and their goal is to try to manage Donald Trump so that things don't explode during the summit.
The G7 leaders are seemingly already bracing for some disagreement, ditching a traditional joint communique at the end of the summit for standalone leader statements on specific issues. And officials are also tempering expectations of a one-on-one meeting between Carney and Trump, telling reporters there is a limited amount of time and rooms on site for the 2 leaders to meet.
The Prime Minister will make another stop before the G7 summit begins, Donna. He is scheduled to visit Ireland this weekend.
Okay, Jillian Piper, thank you. The Federal Privacy Commissioner says Elon Musk's AI chatbot Grok violated Canada's privacy laws. The watchdog says a lack of protection allowed users to create and share sexualized deepfakes, largely targeting women and children. The commissioner is calling for Canada's privacy laws to be modernized with new powers to issue fines and enforce binding orders.
There is no ability to impose a financial consequence. There's no ability to impose an order. That creates a lack of incentive, and in some cases maybe a disincentive to comply with the fundamental right to privacy.
At one point, according to researchers, Grok was generating over 6,000 sexualized images per hour. Get your head in the game. Next, a primer for newbies on the rules of the world's most popular sport. With just 1.2 seconds left in Game 4, the New York Knicks pulled off the largest comeback in NBA Finals history. Trailing by 29 points to the San Antonio Spurs early in the game, the Knicks stormed back for a dramatic 1-point win. The electric finish left fans, including many celebrities who were there, in excited disbelief. Many said they'd never heard Madison Square Garden so loud. Game 5 is back in San Antonio on Saturday, when New York could claim its first NBA title in 53 years. And if basketball is not your thing, the World Cup is now underway. It's bigger than ever before. 48 countries are participating, and it's the first time 3 nations, including Canada, are jointly hosting the World Cup. It's the biggest showcase of a sport played by billions, but in Canada, where hockey is the top sport, what happens on a soccer pitch can still be a bit of a mystery to some. Heidi Petracek counts herself among those who need a bit of a primer on the beautiful game.
I got a dream in my heart.
Fans know the game, its players, its rules inside and out. And then there's the rest of us.
Now, I am from Saskatchewan, so when I think of football, I think of, well, you know, football, the kind with the helmets and everything.
Which means I need to start from scratch. First, a who's who.
Tavio Cicerelli, and I'm a striker for the Halifax Wanderers.
Okay, there's the first question. What's a striker?
Striker is the guy that scores, pretty much. Midfielders are the ones doing all like the hard work. They're running up and down, passing the ball to the forwards, also defending. Defenders are keeping the ball out of the net for your team.
If you never watch a game, you should know that if someone scores and the ball goes in the net, it's a point. So that's the most important thing.
Okay, I knew that one. But what about the rule that gets the most attention?
The most difficult rule to explain normally to someone who doesn't follow the sport is the offside. In hockey, the offside is the line, is the blue line. Here, the blue line is moving because it's the last defender. You cannot go past the last defender before the ball is played to you.
The blue line is a person.
Yes.
The World Cup does have some new rules in play this year, including time limits on goal kicks and player substitutions, hydration breaks every half, and no covering the mouth in verbal confrontations, meant to cut back on back talk.
There's a lot of trash talk anyway on the field.
Break the rules and there are penalties. 2 yellow cards or 1 red and you're out.
And your team plays 1 man down for the whole game.
This just works on your first touch. Everything. Oh, that was not bad.
So while I won't be signing up for football fame,
there we go.
A better understanding of the beautiful game is a goal anyone can score. Heidi Petracek, Global News, Dartmouth, Nova Scotia.
She scores! That is Global National for this Thursday. I'm Donna Friesen. Tonight's Your Canada is Halifax Harbour. We'd love to see your Canada. Please email it to globalnational@globalnews.ca. And thanks for watching. I'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.